Hi viewers, welcome back to Afri Fashion TV. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a simple basic bodice pattern. To do that, we need these various items. We need our drafting paper, we need our rulers, the straight rule, the curve rule. We also need a tape, your marker, and scissors. To start, I'm going to rule a straight line at this point. Like this. And this line is going to serve as my shoulder line. So let me just label shoulder line. Next, I'm going to take my neck measurement. I will be working with the neck width of 3 inches and the neck depth of 3 inches. So using my curve rule, I'm going to connect the points. So next, I'm going to input the shoulder measurement. For this draft, I'm working with a shoulder measurement of 16 inches. So I'm going to divide that by 2, and that will give me 8 inches. So placing my tape at this center fold, I'm going to measure 8 inches. Then at this shoulder point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope. You can use 1 to 2.5 inches for shoulder slope, but for this draft, I'm going to use 1 inch. Then I will connect this shoulder slope to the neck via a straight line. Like this. Okay, next I'm going to get my armhole measurement, and to do that I will be dividing the bust circumference by 6 inches plus 1.5 inches. So for this draft, I'm working with the bust circumference of 38 inches. Now if I divide 38 inches by 6, I'm going to have 6.33333. If I add 1.5 inches to that, I'm going to have 7.8333. So I can approximate that to 8 inches. So from these 1 inch shoulder slope, I'm going to measure 8 inches downwards. Next, I'm going to connect that 8 inches to the shoulder slope via a straight line. After which, I'm going to rule a horizontal line across that 8 inches mark, like so. So this now is going to be our chest line. To get the armhole curve, I'm going to get the midpoint of this armhole length. So the midpoint, since it's 8 inches, the midpoint is 4 inches. I'll mark that right here. So at that midpoint region, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch. Like so. Then, at this chest line, I'm going to impute my bust circumference divided by 4. We divide by 4 because the pattern paper is on fold. We have 2 parts for the front bodice and 2 parts for the back bodice. So 2 plus 2 equals to 4. So dividing the bust circumference by 4, if I divide 38 by 4, I'm going to have 9.5 inches. So I'm going to impute that mark here. Next, I'm going to use my curve rule to connect this point to this and then to this. Okay, so we have gotten our front armhole curve. The next measurement I'm going to take is the bust length. So to get the bust length, I'm going to place my tape on the shoulder line and measure 10 inches down. So I'm going to mark that here. Next, I'm going to take my half cut on my waist length, which is here, 16 inches. So, I'm going to rule horizontal lines across these points. Let me label the lines. This is a bust point and this is the waist line. Now I'm going to impute the depth for this draft. To do that, you have to get your nipple to nipple measurement or the distance between your 2 nipples. Now for these drafts, I'm going to use the nipple to nipple measurement of 8 inches. If I divide that by 2, I'm going to have 4 inches. So placing my tape at the center fold, I will measure 4 inches, like so. Like this. Next, I'm going to connect the 2 lines. Now to take the depth from this bust line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, like this. If you are too busty, then you want to do 1.5 inches. Now at this waist point, I will be taking half an inch on both sides. So I'm going to connect the point like this. So this is our depth. Now we're going to impute our circumferences. At this bust point, I will be imputing my bust circumference divided by 4. Now if I divide 38 by 4, I'm going to have 9.5 inches. Placing my tape right here, I will mark 9.5 inches. Then I will be adding 2 inches for seam allowance. Then at this waistline, I'm going to add my waist circumference divided by 4, and that is 32 divided by 4, I'm going to have 8 inches. So that is the mark. Now because I took 1 inch here for my dart, I'm going to replace it. So I'm going to add that 1 inch dart and then 2 inches seam allowance. Because these are the simple bodies that will certainly be ordered to a skirt to make a gown, I'm going to add a seam allowance at this waist point. This can be half an inch or 1 inch. So I usually add half an inch as my seam allowance at this point. Now moving to the shoulder point, I'm also going to add an allowance of half an inch, a sewing allowance of half an inch, like so. So this is it for the front bodice. Now to get the back bodice, assuming you're not adding a zip at the back, all you need to do is alter 2 points. We're going to alter the neck and the ample curve. So at the neck for the back bodice, the width is going to remain the same. The only thing that will change is the depth. So I'm going to use the depth of 1.5 inches. I'm going to connect that like so. Okay, then for the armhole, all you need to do for the back bodice is to actually, from these midpoints, you connect it to the chest line. So placing your curved rule like this, you connect it like so. So that is for the back bodies, and this is for the front bodies. Now I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to cut out the back first before the front. Okay, so this is it. Now when sewing this, you're not going to cut out these darts. You just have to fold it like this. And then sew. Alright, so that is it. So assuming you're going to add a zipper at the back, this is how to do it. Having ruled my shoulder line, I'm just going to measure 2 inches in. You can actually add a zipper of 1 inch or 1.5 inches, but I'm going to use 2 inches for this. So I'm going to mark 2 inches there, 2 inches here, and 2 inches here. Let's connect like so. Okay, so I'm going to label this zip or zipper allowance. Then From this line, I will be taking every other measurement. Now for my neck measurement, I'm going to take 3 inches, same as the front, for the neck width rather. And then for the neck depth, I will be taking 1.5 inches. Remember, the neck width has to remain the same. The only thing that changes is the neck depth. So I'm going to connect it like this. Alright. Also, placing my tape here, I'm going to take my shoulder measurement. Shoulder measurement 16 inches divided by 2. That's 8 inches. Then I will come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then I'm going to connect that to the neck line like this. Then from this point, I'll measure 8 inches down. I've already explained all of this in the front bodies. For the armhole, so I'm going to connect this like so, and then a horizontal line across it. Going to be my chest line. Then I'm going to take the midpoint, also impute my bust measurement at this chest line and connect it like so. Then from the shoulder point, I'll measure my bust length, 10 inches, the half cut, 16 inches. Then draw a straight line across. I'm going through this again for emphasis. Then do this. Alright. So for the back, I'm going to impute the nipple to nipple measurement. So measuring 4 inches at this bust point and waist line. I'm going to impute 4 inches. Then at this waistline, I'll impute 4 inches. I'm going to connect this like this. Then to get my depth, at this bust point, I like to go up by 2 inches. So I'm going to go up by 2 inches, and then I'll connect that to this line. Then at the waistline, I'm going to measure ½ an inch on both sides and connect it to this point like so. Now we're going to impute the circumferences for the bust, 9.5 inches. Then plus ½ an inch. If you notice here, I took it down to ½ an inch. So I'm going to replace that ½ an inch and add my 2 inches seam allowance right here. Then for the waist, I'm going to impute the waist circumference divided by 4, 8 inches. Took it down to 1 inch. going to replace that, and then 2 inches seam allowance. I'm going to connect that like so. I'm going to add half an inch for joining allowance. 1 inch here, the seam allowance. Just do the same here to be accurate. I'm going to connect it like so. And I'll just then at this shoulder point, I'm going to add half an inch for seam allowance. Okay, so this is the back bodice when you're adding a zip allowance. Okay, so this is the back bodice. This is the front bodice, and this is the back bodice. You can see that the front armhole curve is deeper than the back armhole curve. Alright, so if you found this tutorial helpful, please leave a comment in the comment section below and like this video, share. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to see you in my next video.